friends. Ben Ochart here. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm about to take a couple days, 3 days actually, away from home on a short vacation over to Aquashella in Orlando. I guess it's like a fish convention, fish keepers convention. And so I'm doing a few things that I normally do before I go away. And so I thought I'd share them with you so that the next time you take a vacation, you can have a little less worry about your fish. So before you take off on a trip, take a look at this, and I think you'll find it helpful. I have at least 5 tips for you. Maybe if you know me, probably a bonus or 2 at the end. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So probably the biggest concern that people have when they're going on a trip regarding their fish is, are they going to be fed properly? And probably the biggest fear is that the fish are going to be overfed and will probably die from bloat or just eat themselves to death. So this is why I suggest that you leave feeding instructions as if you were leaving them for a 2-year-old. Leave the food in measured amounts in small plastic, little plastic envelopes. Just leave it in measured amounts. And if you don't have any of those around, use something like this. You can use 1 measuring spoon, and the food is some of the extreme I pick up from the cichlid shack, and a spoon, and just simply leave it in quantities that are very easy. Like, okay, these tanks, they get 2 scoops each. This tank gets 2 scoops. The tank in the back there gets half a scoop. And then that's easy, right? 2 scoops, 2 scoops, 2 scoops, half a scoop, the tank behind the one behind me, right? So you leave it in second grade level instructions. Now, if it's going to be a short trip, the truth is you could probably even go without feeding them. There is some advantage for the fish to fast a little bit, kind of clear out their, clear out their intestinal tract, right? And think about it. I mean, a female mouth-brooding African cichlid, right? She'll go 20, 25 days without food while they're carrying their eggs. And after, of course, after she gets rid of the eggs, she'll start eating again. She'll be weak, but she survives it. So these fish can go for really a while, and they can certainly last a few days. Like, I could actually, leaving on a Friday, coming back on a Sunday night, I could conceivably just give them a good feeding on Friday and then just forget about it and tell everyone in the house just to don't worry about the fish. Or I can leave very, very simple instructions that will allow me give me the confidence that it's going to be done correctly. All right? So just a couple things to keep in mind. Definitely don't have your fish overfed while you're gone. Better to make the mistake of underfeeding than overfeeding, especially with African cichlids, who can sometimes get that Malawi bloat. They become blocked and they bloat out and they die on you. So that's not good. The second point is major maintenance. Some people who are going to go away for, let's say, a week or so, decide that they want to do a major maintenance. They're going to do a vacuum and a filter cleaning and a water change, and they're going to do all these things before they leave. And they usually leave it till the last minute. They do it and then they leave. And the problem with that is that very often comments that I receive from people either on Facebook, at the Facebook group page, or on Instagram, or through email, are asking me about something unusual that was noticed after maintenance, after a water change. And this could be because maybe the temperature wasn't matched when they filled the tank, maybe they didn't condition the water, maybe the city added a huge amount of chloramine or chlorine, and this shocked the fish, maybe some pH shift, who knows, right? But you want to have the time to observe your fish after the maintenance. So if you're going to do a maintenance on the tanks before you leave, I suggest you do it a couple days before you go. That way you have an opportunity to observe the fish, notice that everything is fine, and then just leave with the peace of mind that the water change, the maintenance that you carried out, didn't really have any kind of negative effect on the fish. You don't want to receive a call while you're on vacation from the friend who's come over to feed your fish and who tells you that, hey, half your fish are laying on their side in the tank. They don't look too good. That's not the kind of message you want, right? Now, truth is that some tanks, let's say you have a community tank with a lot of plants, a cleanup crew, cory cats, maybe some plecos and some snails, and you know what? You can go for quite a while without a water change. So maybe you're better off in that case skipping the water change. Just catch it when you get back as early as you can right after you get back home. All right? I wouldn't do a major maintenance right before leaving, right? Like doing your filters and your, I try to do things one aspect at a time in general, only because you don't want to shock the tank and inadvertently kill off too much beneficial bacteria, create an ammonia spike, and then have your fish die out on you, okay? So that's my tip on water changes. And another thing to keep in mind is that while you're away, if you're in an area that is prone to power outages, you should either have some type of a power backup, which can be a home system-wide system, or something as major as that, all the way to the plug-in type boxes, right? I think the USB, I forget what they're called, but they're plug-in boxes that you can plug things into. They give you, a few hours of power, or even something as simple as like a rescue air, like a Cobalt rescue air pump, which kicks in when it detects a power outage and will provide 48 hours of oxygen to your tank. This is important. Very often in a power outage, it's not so much the lack of filtration, but the lack of oxygen that will start to kill off your fish, especially the large ones who have a very high oxygen load. They need a lot of oxygen. Unfortunately, they'll probably die on you first. So dropping an air stone in, if you're in an area that is prone to power outages, that will kick in the event when it detects a power outage, is not a bad idea. Of course, an ideal thing is to have a backup system that detects the outage and kicks in and keeps your fish room, keeps your tanks running. I'm actually looking into an option like that right now. The next point I want to make with you is to check out what the weather is like during the time that you're going to be away. If there's a hot spell coming, for example, you may want to leave a fan running, or you may want to instruct the person watching your fish to keep an eye on the tanks, and if the temperatures exceeds a certain amount, to go ahead and turn on the air conditioning in the home, or fire up some fans, or give instructions. Or let's say you have a cold snap coming, all right? Instruct the person who's watching your tanks to go ahead and watch the temperatures. In my case, I've taken the heaters out of the tanks, or I've disconnected them for the summer. So if we were to get some freak weather here, and outside temperatures were to drop to the 40s, which wouldn't be too cold for here. In the winter, we got all the way down to 10 degrees. So if we had a temperature drop to the 40s, there could be a problem here in the fish room. So I would leave very clear instructions so that the folks in the house know, leave the door open between the fish room and the rest of the house. My fish room is in the garage, so that heat or cooling continues to exchange with the garage to help normalize temperatures. Just something to keep in mind, okay? You should also have an agreed upon what if scenario. In other words, tell the person who's watching your fish that what if something weird happens, okay? They come to feed your fish and they notice that a couple of them are dead or one of them is struggling. What should they do? They usually they panic. Oh my goodness, they're gonna think I killed his. He's gonna think I killed his fish. Just let them know. Look, if something like that comes up, please just shoot a short little video. Don't shoot the fish. Shoot a short little video and send it to me, and I will tell you what to do. And have, like, let's say there's medications. Let's say you have a General Cure, right? Or Furon 2 or Maricin or something. You may want to have some of that in an easy to find place. You can tell the person, okay, look, open up 2 packs of Fritz Paracleanse, drop it into the tank, and I'll be home. I'll be home tomorrow. So have a what if, a what if scenario agreed upon on what to do if something unusual happens. So I think that's 5. I think I gave you 5. But I'm going to give you one more just as a bonus. One of the things that you want to leave as a no-brainer is lighting, the lighting of the tanks. So I suggest if you don't have one already, pick up an inexpensive timer like the one you see here. You can pick these up for like $5. I don't know. I think they come in packets of 3 for $9 or something. Very inexpensive, and you plug your lights into them, and you simply depress the time that you want the electricity getting to the lights. So the lights are on an on position, and as this thing circulates, it just turns the lights on and off. Make that a no-brainer. So the person taking care of your fish doesn't have to worry about turning the lights on at a certain time or turning them off at a certain time. So invest in a they have fancy power strips that have a section that can be on a timer. Power strips that are made specifically for fish keepers. So you can go with something like that for maybe, I don't know, $50, $100, I don't know what they cost, or just go with something inexpensive, just so the person has no worries about turning the lights on or off, okay? And just make sure that you've tested it before you go on vacation, that you know it's working, and that you have it set correctly so that it's on the timer and not on the wall, and then you discover that your lights are on for like 4 days in a row, and you have fish with bloodshot eyes and bags under their eyes because they haven't slept. So not what you want, okay? So those are my tips. If you have some things that you do very specifically before you go on vacation to make sure that your tanks are going to be good while you're away, please share them. I'm going to be certainly doing some things to my tanks. I'll be doing water changes on this tank for sure. This one already had one, and this one back here, which is very heavily stocked with the larger African cichlars that I recently received. Those are going to definitely get water changes. The tank behind this tank here that has the Eureka Red, I'll probably do a water change on that one next week sometime. Okay, so that's all for now. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I appreciate you stopping by. Be sure to comment, rate, share, and if you haven't already, please be sure to hit that sub button. It tells YouTube that you're enjoying the channel, especially if you hit the notification bell. It tells YouTube you're enjoying the channel and encourages YouTube to tell other fish keepers like us about what's going on here. And it's a win-win, all right? Thank you, folks, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye-bye.